What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the fifth Ghostbusters film, the second in the Ghostbusters, reboot relaunch we're currently in, following 2021's Ghostbusters Afterlife. Afterlife, of course, directed by Jason Reitman, son of the original Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman. Jason Reitman is back, co-writing the screenplay this time. Frozen Empire is directed by Gil Keenan instead, who also co-wrote the Afterlife screenplay with Jason. And Frozen Empire, of course, stars Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon, Finn Wolfhard, and McKenna Grace, all returning from Afterlife. But, of course, we also have the old heads, the OGs of the Ghostbusters franchise showing up as well, and having a lot more to do in this film than they did in Afterlife. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, all back. And also, we have a lot of the other side characters from Afterlife, such as Logan Kim as Podcast, Celeste O'Connor as Lucky, and new people as well, including Kumail Nanjiani and Patton Oswalt. There's a lot of characters in this movie. Ultimately, I think Ghostbusters Afterlife is just okay. I had a good time with it, but it's really hard not to see a lot of the faults with this movie. Really, this movie just bit off way too much. Like, it tried to bust too many ghosts. Too much busting happened in Frozen Empire. If we busted just a little less, I think this movie could have been better. The issue is there's too many characters. You have the entire cast of Afterlife, plus the entire living cast, basically, of the original Ghostbusters films, plus new characters. There's just too much going on. All the subplots in this movie, none of them work as well as they should because they're just not given enough time. So we don't really have enough build-up for the overarching villain of the film. We don't have enough build-up with any of the supporting stuff. It's just a bit frustrating because the humor is also a bit up and down. I think some of it's quite funny, some of it doesn't land at all. And there's like good bones to something quite fun and enjoyable in Frozen Empire. But unfortunately, there's just a bit too much going on for this to really come together in a satisfying way. It's not bad or offensive, but it's not great either. Just kind of thinking of like all these subplots, right? And how none of them are able to shine. Just trying to like run through them all in my head, how many there are. We had, the Spengler household dynamics and, Finn Wolfhard's Trevor and McKenna Grace's Phoebe kind of, having teen angst, and they're, different ages, so it's different kinds of teen angst. You have that aspect and the family dynamic, and, Paul Rudd as Gary, he's not a Spengler, but he's cozying up to Carrie Coon. So is he part of the family? What is his role to the kids? You have that aspect, which I think is would be pretty nice if there was more time spent on it. We have Phoebe's friendship / pseudo attraction, quote unquote, to this ghost teenage girl, and where that goes. I think that's something that should have been a lot more entertaining than it ended up being. Teenage girl makes friends with ghost teenage girl. It somehow is pretty dry. I wish that was better. We also have the whole introduction of Kumail Nanjiani's character as Nadim, who is actually this fire-bending fire master character tasked with protecting the world against this ultimate evil, this ice demon god. All of that is, kind of yada yada for plot, but we don't spend enough time with it, and I don't know, it kind of advances quite quickly. Everything with the OG cast, for the most part, Bill Murray has really 2 scenes in the movie, and his best line is spoiled in the trailer. Ernie Hudson is also really barely in the movie. Dan Aykroyd, I think, has the most to do. I actually quite enjoyed Ray. It's probably my favorite aspect of the movie. I thought his stuff was pretty fun. They link up with Patton Oswalt at one point, who is effectively this exposition character, giving you so much data dumping on the big bad of this movie. You have Celeste O'Connor and Logan Kim back from the first movie, and they have effectively almost nothing at all to do, but they're still in the movie. Like, maybe you could have cut them out and focused the film a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the day-to-day stuff, like just watching the crew be in the firehouse, do ghost busting stuff, bust some ghosts, that would be fun to spend more time with, but we're kind of ratcheting through plot, and we have all these other subplots that are a bit distracting because they're just not effective enough. The stuff with like the ghost lab I thought was pretty interesting, seeing all the various ghosts being trapped and tested on and stuff. I thought the possessor ghost was probably one of the most consistent gags in the movie. I quite enjoyed that. I do enjoy podcast humor. Like at least he delivers on that. I don't even know what they're called. I'm not a hardcore Ghostbusters fan, but like the Michelin Man Doughboy ghosts, those motherfuckers are funny as hell. Watching them kill, run each other through pencil sharpeners and lay each other on fire and cut each other open. And when they're mad, when they're scared, I think they're really funny. I wish there was more time with them, honestly. Finn Wolfhard does not have a lot going on in this movie. I don't even mind him in the film, but he has very little to do. And McKenna Grace, like she's playing a teenager who's also introverted. It's not the best hang, honestly. It's not against the performance, but it's not the most fun time. Again, the stuff with the ghost girl also is not very fun. So yeah, it's kind of just a mismatch of lots of different things. I think the Kumail humor's up and down. Unexpectedly, we got like sex jokes at one point from his character from Finn and stuff. That was honestly really funny. Kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't even disappointed that there's not like this massive confrontation against the bad guy, because I didn't really care about the bad guy the entire time. The ice ghost. The fact that the confrontation happens inside the firehouse, I think it's actually pretty clever way to keep this movie's budget in check. Only $100 million budget, so it doesn't have to be a massive success for this film to be a success and warrant a third film, as I'm sure Sony would love to happen. Ultimately, Ghostbusters, it's not like a high-end IP. It has its fans, its loyal fans for sure, but it's not to that degree. So I just don't know if there's a whole lot of like general passion for these films. But I mean, for what it is, Frozen Empire I think is perfectly enjoyable for this type of film. But to me, the flaws are just so glaring. But they're glaring because if they were amended, you feel like this could have been a lot better. But for what it is, I still enjoyed my time. I think Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon do a great job throughout this movie. They're, of course, both excellent actors, but they, I think, are able to communicate a lot and carry a lot of the emotion in the film, honestly, for a film that doesn't spend a lot of time giving you an opportunity to have a lot of that emotion. So, yeah, Frozen Empire, it's fine. I wish it was better. But yeah, let me know. What did you think of it? Did you like it more or less than me? Let me know. And for more movie reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.